Welcome back. You know, I almost did a video on the Canucks the other day and I thought, nope. But we're almost to that point again. Again. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and start things off with the first game, which is Detroit in Columbus against the Blue Jackets, which of course was at Ohio State. And I got this nice can cozy today, along with some other Detroit Stadium themed items. And sorry, I apologize to Detroit. All right, so Talbot versus Merzlikins. Columbus presses at 2.5 minutes. Sider has a point shot that's kicked aside. The teams trade rushes. The Wings press at 6 minutes. Things get pushed in a hole by Talbot, who was wearing a nice little toque today. So that was fun. I do like it when the goalies wear those. Shots are 8-3 Detroit at 8.5 minutes. The Wings press at 9 minutes. Voronkov's denied. We get more pushing. The Wings have a 2-on-1 that misfires. Werenski has a screenshot that saved. Columbus presses with 5.5 minutes left. Things get pushed in a hold by Merzlikins. It is scoreless after one. Second period, teams trade turnovers. Shots are one apiece at 3 minutes. Columbus presses at 4 minutes, and at 5:31, Matejchuk opens the scoring for Columbus. He roofs one far side. Jenner and Van Riemsdyk with the assists, so 1-0 Columbus. Wings look to respond. Larkin has a net feed that's picked off. Shots are 6-4 Detroit with 9 minutes left. We get a power play for the Wings, and they score on it. DeBrincat tips one in from the doorstep. Kane and Sider with the assists at 13:06 to tie the game at 1. Wings press for the lead. We get a post for Fantilli on a rush. With 2:45 left, the Columbus Blue Jackets get a power play, and they score on it. At 17:23, it is Voronkov from Kent Johnson and Werenski. And then at 17:55, so 32 seconds later, Olivier roofs a backhand in close. Danforth with the assist on that. So all of a sudden, quickly, it's 3-1 in favor of Columbus. The Wings press to close it out, but it's 3-1 Columbus after two, even though the Wings had outplayed them to that point. Third period, early press by Detroit. Hitting's picking up again, and at 3:34, Kane scores to make it 3-2. Edvinsson and Johansson with the assists. The Wings look to tie it. In fact, the shots were 11-0 for Detroit 4 minutes into the period. So Detroit's all over them. We get a power play for the Wings. That's killed off. DeBrincat to Gustafsson. Near miss there. The Wings press with 6.5 minutes left. And at 16:36, DeBrincat gets a second of the game. He wires it top corner. Gustafsson and Kane with the assists. However, at 17:43, Columbus answers, and the Wings wanted a call in the play. Danforth would score from Aston Reese and Provorov. So now it's 4-3 for Columbus. You got to pull the goaltender, and Fantilli would hit the empty net at 18:52 from Werenski and Jenner. Columbus, a little bit of controversy there. Columbus wins 5-3. They go to 30, 22, and 8 with the win. With the loss, Detroit 30, 24, and 6, and they drop down to the number 2 wildcard spot. Shots on net, 14-6 Detroit in the first, 11-7 Detroit in the second, 21-8 for Detroit in the third. Detroit outshoots them 46-21. Power plays, Detroit 1 for 2, Columbus 1 for 1. The hits, 31-25 Detroit. Talbot saved 16 out of 20. Elvis, great game by Elvis, 43 saves on 46 shots. Maybe they need to wear this jersey regularly because Elvis seems to play really well when he's wearing it. All right, next up. Montreal in Buffalo against the Sabres. So it's Dobesh versus Luukkonen. There's an early press by the Habs. Byram's denied. The rebound's cleared. Shots are one apiece at 3.5 minutes. The Sabres press at 5 minutes. We get a power play for Montreal. That's killed off. Teams trade turnovers. Shots are 7-4 Montreal with 9 minutes left. Caulfield has a net drive that's blocked. We get a post for Cousins with 1:32 left. The Sabres get a power play. So in the second period, we get a post for Peterka. Dobesh holds. That power play is killed off by Montreal. And then we get a power play for Montreal, and they open the scoring. Caulfield with his 20th road goal of the season. He scores from Laine and Suzuki at 113. He's second in road goals. I think it's Draisaitl's the only one he's behind in road goals. So 1-0 Montreal. The Sabres press at 5.5 minutes, and then on a turnover at 6:04, Tuck scores to tie the game from Bryson. And then at 7:33 on a cross-ice pass, Kulik buries one to give Buffalo a 2-1 lead. Dahlin and Peterka with the assists. Sabres look for another. Shots are 7-3 Sabres at the half, but you can't trust a lead with Buffalo. At 13:33, Anderson ties it from the slot on a rush. Dvorak and Hudson with the assists. We get a power play for Buffalo. That becomes 4-on-4. Things get pushy on a hold by Luukkonen. Everything's killed off there. The Habs press with 2.5 minutes left. Tuck has a net drive chance this block. Things get pushy on a hold by Dobesh. And so we get 2 minutes of 4-on-4, and towards the end of the period at 19:57, it is Newhook tipping one in during the 4-on-4. Matheson and Hudson with the assists. So one of those goals that's just a backbreaker. It's 3-2 Montreal after 2. Third period, Gallagher has a net drive this block. Shots are 2-1 Buffalo at 3 minutes. The fans call one, the referee does not. The Habs press at 6.5 minutes. Sabres get some pressure at 8.5 minutes. The Habs are doing a good job of blocking a path to the net. We get 2 minutes of 4-on-4 again. Good back checking by Montreal. The goalie pull happens with 2:10 left, and at 18:22, Evans scores from Dvorak to make it 4-2 Montreal. Buffalo would pull the goalie again. They do not get closer. Your final score is 4-2 for Montreal. They go to 29, 26, and 5 with the win. With the loss, Buffalo 24, 29, and 5. Shots on net, 9 apiece in the first, 10-9 Montreal in the second, 10-7 Montreal in the third. Final shots 29-25 for the Habs. Power plays Montreal 1 for 4. Buffalo 0 for 2. The hits 28-27 Buffalo. Dobesh saves 23 out of 25. Luukkonen saves 25 out of 28. All right, next up. San Jose and Ottawa. So something had to give here. Both these teams came in on losing streaks. Vanacek versus Ullmark. Early jump for the Sharks. In fact, they led 3-0 in shots 3 minutes into the game. Sens press at 5.5 minutes. Good forechecking, though, by the Sharks. They end up getting themselves a power play, but that was their problem. On what was the second shot of the game for Ottawa, they opened the scoring. Pinto shorthanded from Ridley Gregg at 11:05, and then the Senators finish the kill. Kind of ruins your momentum when that happens. We get a power play for Ottawa with 3:31 left. Things get pushed in a hole by Vanacek. That power play is killed off. 1-0 Ottawa after 1. Second period, Sens press at 2 minutes. Shots are 3-0 Ottawa at 4.5 minutes. Chabot fires one wide as the Senators press. Sharks draw a power play, and they score on it. Toffoli would score from Smith and Celebrini at 5:17. Sharks then look for the lead. We get a power play for Ottawa. Tkachuk to Giroux. There's a near miss there. That power play is killed off. Dellandrea then has a rush chance that's saved. The Sharks would then draw a power play, and they score on this one as well. Liljegren, it's a point shot that deflects in. He scores at 9:47 from Wenberg and Costin. San Jose has a lead of 2-1 in Ottawa. Teams trade rushes. The Sens press with 6 minutes left. The Sharks get pinned down a bit, but they block the net well. Things get pushed in a hole by Vanacek again. And then with 10 seconds left, the Sens get a power play. So that rolls over into the third period. San Jose with a 2-1 lead. But do leads for San Jose matter? Not really. So early in the third, the Sens go to a 5-on-3, and they score on it. You can't give them a long 5-on-3, and they did. At 1:26, it's Tkachuk from Stützle and Sanderson. That one's wired from the slot, and then after the kill is done, so they do kill off the 5-on-4, but at 3 minutes, Stützle just catches Vanacek completely out of position. Gregg with the assist there, and suddenly Ottawa has a 3-2 lead. Sharks look to respond. There's a 2-on-1 for the Sens that gets broken up. Sharks press at 7.5 minutes, but at 8:31, Perron scores to give Ottawa a 2-goal lead. Chabot and Batherson with the assists. The Sens then press at the half. Wenberg has a slot shot that's blocked. Cunning's denied as the Sharks get some pressure with 2:15 left. The Sharks get a power play. They score on this one too. Smith tips one in. Eklund and Celebrini with the assists. So Celebrini with a couple assists tonight. Smith with a goal and a helper. And at 18:33, it's become a 4-3 game. So a little bit of tension there for Ottawa. So the ref is told that he sucks because Sens fans wanted a call before that one. Sens fans didn't like the call that led to that power play goal. There you go. That's the right way to report it. And then the goalie pull happens again. And Amadio takes some of that starch out of the crowd in Ottawa. At 19 minutes, he gets the empty netter from Zub. And so Ottawa wins 5-3. They go to 30, 25, and 4 with the win. With the loss, San Jose 15, 37, and 9. They're not going to reach 20 wins, are they? Again. So shots on net, 12-8 San Jose in the first, 16-10 Ottawa in the second, 15-8 San Jose in the third. Final shots 37-32 for the Sharks. Power plays, San Jose 3 for 4. They didn't score 5-on-5. Ottawa 1 for 4. The hits, 21-20 for San Jose. Vanacek saves 27 out of 31. Ullmark saves 34 out of 37. So kind of a sloppy game considering it's San Jose, but Ottawa gets the 2 points, so you don't complain about it. All right, next up, Edmonton in Carolina. Both these teams kind of, off track a little bit recently. It's Pickard versus Anderson. There's an early power play for the Oilers. That was killed off. 1 shot on net. The Canes then get a power play of their own, and Edmonton scores during the Carolina power play. It's Henrique. It's an Oilers bounce on a rebound. Henrique will take it. He scores from Janmark at 5:08. It's 1-0 for the Oilers. Edmonton then finishes the kill. The shots are 7-1 Edmonton, 7 minutes in. Yeah, Carolina did not start on time tonight. Power play for Carolina, that's killed off as well. And then the Canes get another power play, and Edmonton kills that off. So that's 3 power plays in the first period, and not much to show for them for Carolina. Canes press with 3.5 minutes left. They also press in the final minute, but the Oilers are up 1-0 after 1. Second period, there's an early press by the Oilers. McDavid has a rush chance, that's saved. Perry's denied as the Oilers get some more pressure. Shots are 8-5 for Edmonton at 6 minutes. Oilers press at 6.5 minutes. Canes get some pressure of their own 8 minutes in. Robinson's denied from the slot by Pickard. Walker has this high slot chance, that's saved as well. Robinson then has another chance, that's blocked out. Then at 16:29, the Oilers make it 2-0. Perry's a net feed. Draisaitl and Kulak with the assists, so 2-0 lead for the Oilers. The Oilers press for another, but then the Canes get some pressure in the final minute. It's 2-0 Oilers after the second period. Third period, the Canes press at 2 minutes. They would end up getting a power play, and at 4:26, Sebastian Aho scores on the power play from Rantanen and Gostisbehere. So 2-1 for the Oilers at that point. The Oilers then look to respond. Kulak has a one-timer, that's blocked. The teams trade rushes. The Canes press, the Oilers block. Kulak prevents a goal by the Canes that would have tied it. Jarvis misses one wide as there's some more pressure. In fact, the shots are 15-9 Carolina with 4 minutes left. The goalie pull happens with 2 minutes left, and then with 1:34 left, the Oilers get a power play. So there's a shorthanded breakaway by Aho. He's denied. Eventually, you got to pull the goaltender to make it 5-on-5, and so Bouchard gets the power play empty netter at 19:59 from Draisaitl and McDavid. They double check to make sure it beat the clock. It did. And so it is a 3-1 win for the Oilers in Carolina. And they just missed that chest magnet. The chest magnet being for 3 goals or less, of course. The Oilers 35-21-4 with the win. Carolina drops to 34-22-4. Shots on net. 8-7 Carolina in the first, 14-12 Edmonton in the second, 16-10 Carolina in the third. The Canes do outshoot the Oilers 36-31. Power plays, Edmonton 1 for 2, Carolina 1 for 4. The hits 14-12 for Carolina. Pickard saved 35 out of 36. He was excellent. Anderson was good too. 28 saves on 30 shots. They couldn't solve Pickard enough to get him the W. All right, next up, Philadelphia and Winnipeg. There's nothing to worry about with Winnipeg. Just throwing that out there. Anyways, Fedotov versus Hellebuck in this one. Tippett has a rush chance. That's blocked. The Flyers press at 2 minutes. In fact, Philadelphia leads in shots 4-1, 5 minutes in. Tippett then has a net feed that's picked off. Scheifele has a 3-on-2 chance that gets blocked. There's a glove save and a hold on Ristolainen. And then at 9:58, Scheifele snaps one in from in close to open the scoring for Winnipeg. Velarde and Connor with the assists. So 1-0 Winnipeg, even though it didn't feel like they played that well to that point. Jets press with 7.5 minutes left. We get a power play for Philadelphia. That's killed off. Then we had a fight between Delorier and Stanley. My favorite part of this, watch before the fight starts. You can see a linesman yelling at him, "Let's go." Meaning, come on, start throwing punches. We want this over with. And then the Jets press in the final minute, but it's 1-0 for Winnipeg after the first. Second period, there's an early press by the Jets, but at 3:48, Drysdale ties the game for Philadelphia. Cates and Sealer with the assists. So Noah Cates has been red hot lately scoring-wise. Jets look to respond. Shots are 7-2 for Philadelphia at 7 minutes. The Jets press at 8 minutes. Then the teams trade turnovers. Jets press with 5.5 minutes left. Ristolainen has a wrister that's caught and held. Again, Ristolainen prominent tonight, just not able to get on the board. Connor then has a net drive that's held. It's 1-1 after 2. Third period, Sanheim has a net feed that's blocked. The Flyers had the early jump. Brink's denied in close. The shots are 3-2 for the Flyers, 3 minutes in. Brink then has a rush chance, that's defended. Lowry has a net feed chance at the other end, that's blocked. Jets press with 7.5 minutes left. Lowry's denied from the side of the net. There's a post for Ehlers from the slot, that close to winning it right there. We get a power play for the Jets. Ehlers was robbed. Fedotov holds. Power play was killed off. The Jets would get another power play. That's killed off as well. So the Jets' power play came up empty tonight. This is something that's all of a sudden become a problem for the Jets. The overtime the Jets controlled early. There's a post and out for Scheifele. So again, they were that close to getting the win. Brink has a net drive that's blocked. We end up going to the shootout. In the shootout, it is Michkov who gets the winner. And so your final score in this one, a 2-1 shootout victory for Philadelphia. They go to 27-26-8 with the win. With the shootout loss, the Jets 42-15-4. They now have 88 points, and the chess magnet's there because 3 goals or less. Shots on net 14-7 in favor of Philadelphia in the first, 14-12 Philadelphia in the second, 9-3 Winnipeg in the third, and 2-1 Winnipeg in the overtime. Final shots 32-30 for Philadelphia. The Flyers 0-1. Winnipeg 0-2 on the power play. The hits 29-28 Winnipeg. Fedotov 29 saves on 30 shots. Hellebuck 31 saves on 32 shots. Time to go to board number 2. All right, LA in St. Louis against the Blues. It was Riddick against Binnington in this one. So teams trade rushes. We get a power play for the Kings, and they score on it. Fiala gets his 200th NHL goal, so kudos to him for that. Doughty and Kopitar with the assists at 3:43, and then the Kings look for another. The shots are 2-1 LA at 7 minutes. Blues press at 9.5 minutes. There's a near miss for Parayko on a net drive, and then he hits the next one at 9:37. Parayko from Kyrou and Holloway to tie the game at 1. Blues press for the lead. The shots are 5 apiece with 8 minutes left. At 18:07, the Blues do get the lead, but Schnevich buries one. It's a loose puck on the doorstep. Thomas and Neighbors with the assists. So 2-1 lead for St. Louis. Kings look to respond, but it's 2-1 for St. Louis after 1. Second period, early press by the Blues. The teams trade rushes. The Kings press are kept to the outside. Holloway has a net drive chance that's held. Blues press at 7 minutes. The Kings press at 9 minutes. At 9:27, Bolduc wires one on a breakaway for St. Louis. Joseph with the assist. So now it's 3-1 in favor of the Blues. Kings press with 7.5 minutes left. The shots on net were 7-5 for the Kings with 5.5 minutes left. Riddick with a bit of an oops. He bails himself out after. Don't pass it to the wrong team. Kings press in the final minute. Did the Blues score before the buzzer? No. It was a Buchnevich goal. It did not go in before the buzzer, so the score stays at 3-1. Third period, early press by the Blues, and then it does become 4-1. Holloway gets one from the high slot. You need a save there. Shannon Suter with the assist at 1:34. That makes it 4-1 for St. Louis. The Kings look to respond. Leddy then has a net feed that's picked off. Kings press at 3.5 minutes. We get a power play for the Blues. That's killed off. Kings press at 9.5 minutes, but Schnevich gets denied. Riddick holds on there. Kyrou has a net drive chance that's held. Then there's a post for Jeannot. We get a power play for the Blues. That's killed off. The Blues press with 4 minutes left. We get 2 minutes of 4-on-4. The Kings decide to pull the goalie at that point. There's a little more than 3 minutes left. They do not generate another goal. St. Louis wins this one 4-1. They go to 29-26-6. I'm just going to say it. Of the teams that are still in the hunt for a playoff spot in the West, I think St. Louis would be the most dangerous team in the first round. So, just saying. The Kings 31-19-8 with the loss. Shots on net 10-8 St. Louis in the first, 10 apiece in the second, 14-8 St. Louis in the third. Final shots 34-26 for the Blues. Power plays, the Kings scored on the only one they had. St. Louis was 0-2. The hits 34-25 for St. Louis. Riddick saves 30 out of 34. Binnington, another good game for Binnington, 25 saves on 26 shots. And I believe that's 4 wins in a row for the Blues. They're in the running. They're in the hunt. And yeah, I think they could be dangerous come round 1. All right, next up, New Jersey in Utah against Utah Hockey Club. Utah could be a very dangerous first-round opponent as well because there's no expectations on them. So it's Dawes versus Vejmelka. Utah presses at 3.5 minutes. The shots are 3-2 New Jersey at 4 minutes. Jack Hughes to Palat. There's a near miss at the net. The Devils press at 7.5 minutes. Cooley has a net drive chance. That's saved. And then at 9:34, Nico Hischier buries a rebound 5-hole. Luke Hughes and Tatar with the assists, so 1-0 New Jersey. Utah looks to respond. We get a power play for the Devils. That's killed off. Dillon had a fight with O'Brien. 1:48 left. Utah gets a power play, so that rolls over into the second period. The score 1-0 in favor of New Jersey. Of course, the Devils finish the kill early in the second period. Jack Hughes has a rush chance that's saved. Gunther fires one high on a rush he had. Shots are 2-1 Devils at 5 minutes. Utah presses at 5.5 minutes. Cooley fans on a rush chance. Palat can't bury one in close. And then at 10:03, Sergachev, during a good press that Utah had going on, ties the game. O'Brien and Stenlin with the assists, and Sergachev wires that one from the slot. Shots are 9-6 Devils with 7 minutes left. We get a power play for New Jersey. That's killed off. Devils press with 2 minutes left, but it stays tied at 1 after 2. Third period, 14 seconds in. Meyer wires one far side on a rush. 14 seconds in, it kind of has to be a rush chance. Mercer and Kovacevic with the assists. So all of a sudden, New Jersey's got the lead back. Gunther then has a net drive chance that's blocked. 3 minutes in, that goal is still the only shot on net for either team. Krause to McBain, near miss there. Good forechecking by Utah. Jack Hughes then has a rush chance that's held. Devils press at the half. Shots are 8 apiece with 8 minutes left, or 7 apiece with 8 minutes left. There you go. 12:43 is when Lazar puts one short side. I didn't think that was a great goal, but Lazar gets that one from Jack Hughes and Bastian. Like, I'm not saying it to take anything away from Lazar, just that's one that you'd hope Vejmelka would save to keep it a one-goal game. Cooley's denied. Dawes holds on there. I'm a big Nico Dawes fan. Have been for a long time. The goalie pull happens with 2:10 left. That becomes a 6-on-4 power play. But in the end, the Devils end up winning this one 3-1. They go to 33-22-6 with the win. With the loss, Utah 27-25-9, and they missed out on an opportunity tonight. Shots on net, 9-7 New Jersey in the first, 11-7 New Jersey in the second, 11-9 Utah in the third. Final shots 29-25 for the Devils. Both teams go 0 for 2 on the power play. Not a heavy hitting game. Both teams had 18 hits. Dawes 24 saves on 25 shots. Vejmelka had 26 saves on 29 shots. All right, next up. Chicago and Anaheim. Chicago's kind of fun to watch right now, aren't they? Soderblom versus Gibson. Strome to McTavish near miss. The only shot on net was for Anaheim at 3 minutes. Sligert has a net drive chance that's held. The Hawks press at 6 minutes. Bedard has a wrister that's caught and held. Shots are 5 apiece at 8.5 minutes. So Chicago keeping things even against a Ducks team that came into this one pretty hot. We get a power play for Chicago. That's killed off. A net feed to Reichel gets picked off after that. Nazar has a net drive chance that's saved. We get a power play for the Ducks. That's killed off. The Ducks press with 2 minutes left, but then the Hawks get some pressure to close it out. It's 0-0 after 1. Second period, early press by the Ducks. The Hawks press at 3.5 minutes. Lacombe has a shot that deflects wide. Athanasiou's denied on a breakaway. Shots are 3-2 Chicago at 6.5 minutes. The teams trade turnovers, and at 7:48, Kaiser wires one 5-hole on a net drive. Teravainen and Mikheyev with the assists. Less than a minute later, the Ducks tied up. Leo Carlsson, who started to play the way we know he can, he puts one backhand top shelf. Vetrangelo and Colangelo with the assists at 8:33. Vetrano and Colangelo. Almost sounds like a law firm, doesn't it? We get a power play then for Chicago, and Maroon would score on a post and in from the doorstep. Reichel and Martinez with the assists at 10:24, and then at 13:14, Teravainen gives Chicago a 2-goal lead. Donato and Brody with the assists, so things feel pretty good for Chicago until Lacombe scores. He buries a rebound and close. Strome and Vetrano with the assists at 14:41. It's a 3-2 lead for Chicago. Things get pushed in a hole by Soderblom, but yeah, it stays 3-2 for Chicago after 2. Third period, Trouba, he throws a check that draws a crowd. It's one of those ones that, I mean, it's clean. It's a heavy hit. I understand why the teammates weren't happy about it. But the Ducks end up coming out with a power play. So it's one of those ones where the other team gets mad. They throw a punch. They, do cross-check. And you get a power play out of it if you're Anaheim. But that power play's killed off. And then immediately afterwards, Reichel buries one on a breakaway from Smith and Martinez at 4:53. Leeson's then denied. We get some pushing as the Ducks are looking to respond to that. Then we get 2 minutes of 5-on-3 for the Hawks. And I knew what was going on. So you can see in the Hawks zone as they have the puck that the referee in their end puts up his arm. So I'm like, all right, it's a delayed call, which the Chicago announcers didn't really pick up on, which is fine. I'm not looking to dump on any announcers. But then an obvious penalty takes place in the Anaheim zone against a Chicago player. Same Chicago player that drew the penalty at the other end. It's a 2-minute 5-on-3. Chicago's got a good power play, and they score early in it. Donato buries a rebound. Bertuzzi and Vlasic with the assists at 7 minutes and 40 seconds. So Ryan Donato, his 20th goal of the season. The Ducks do kill off the 5-on-4, but then on a fast break, Donato scores again from Teravainen at 10:56. So if this is Donato's last game with Chicago, he's got some goals. It might increase what Chicago gets back for him. The Ducks would answer, though, at 17:16. Leo Carlsson scores from Dumoulin to make the score 6-3. So we don't get an 80s game. We don't get a no mercy game, but it kind of felt no mercy-ish from Chicago, who with the 6-3 win go to 18-35-7. So they should get to 20 wins this year. Anaheim, this has to be frustrating for Anaheim, 26-26-7. Shots on net, 10-8 Anaheim in the first, 11-8 Anaheim in the second, 10-8 Anaheim in the third. They outshoot Chicago 31-24. Power plays, Chicago 2 for 4, Anaheim 0 for 2. The hits, 27-12 for Anaheim. Soderblom, 28 saves on 31 shots. Gibson, 18 saves on 24 4 shots. All right, last game we're going to review, and then we'll do the preview after. Vancouver in Seattle. So, Lankinen versus Decord. The Canucks have a 3-on-2 that's broken up. Shots are 2-1 Vancouver at 3 minutes. Myers has a shot that's held, and then at 5:47, Burakovsky scores for Seattle. From right, it's 1-0 for the Kraken, and I said out loud, here we go. We get a power play for the Canucks. That's killed off. The teams trade rushes, and then Suter gets a gift. He wires one at 11:35. He roofs it from the slot on a turnover. Shots are 10-5 for Vancouver with 5.5 minutes left, and at 16:27, Hedl buries one, puts it over to court. It's 2-0 or 2-1 for Vancouver. Myers and Marcus Pettersson with the assists. All right, Vancouver's in business, right? Kraken press with 2.5 minutes left. With 1:19 left, the Canucks have a power play. So, Vancouver has a 2-1 lead after the first period. A power play rolling over into the second. All right, it's Seattle, a team that's nowhere near the playoff picture. Doesn't matter. Second period, the Kraken finish the kill. The Canucks press at 2.5 minutes. The Kraken press at 4 minutes, and at 4 minutes and 11 seconds, they would score. Bjorkstrand from Montour and right, so that pressure pays off. Kraken then look for the lead. The shots are 3-0 Seattle at 6.5 minutes. We then get a power play for Seattle, and Vancouver scores on it. It's a shorthanded goal. Joshua puts it around Decord and in on a 2-on-1 rush. O'Connor with the assist at 8:05. I like Drew O'Connor, and Dakota Joshua's finally starting to play like he did last year, so that gives the Canucks the lead back at 3-2. Crisis averted. Canucks finish the kill. Then there's a press by Vancouver at the half. The Kraken press with 8.5 minutes left, and then on a face-off win at 12:08, Beniers scores, done with the assist, and it's 3-3. Then at 13:08, exactly a minute later, Ellie Tolvanen gets a goal from Evans and Stevenson. Burakovsky then has a rush chance that's held as Seattle's building some momentum. Kraken would also press in the final minute. It's 4-3 Seattle after 2, and that's when I put the records up on the board. Third period, early press by Seattle. The Canucks press at 3 minutes. We get a power play for Seattle, and just after that penalty's done and Pettersson gets back on the ice, Montour scores from McCann and Eberle at 5:38 to make it 5-3. Shots are 5-3 for Seattle at 7.5 minutes, same as the score. Soucy has a screenshot that saved. The goalie pull happens with more than 3 minutes left, and at 18:29, Tolvanen hits the empty net. The assist to Vince Dunn. Seattle with the 6-3 win over Vancouver. They go to 26-31-4 with the win. No, they're not in contention. Vancouver 27-22-11 with the loss. They're above the playoff line. No, they're not in contention either. This team is broken. This is everybody's going to dump on Pettersson. I get it. This team is fundamentally broken, and Quinn Hughes didn't play in the last 9:05 of the third. Please, for the love of God, park Hughes until he's 100%, because what's happening now is they're playing him when he's hurt, the same as they did with Demko, the same as they've been doing with players, and then you end up with guys having chronic injuries. Not that I have any opinion on it, of course. And the worst part of it is, if a team's playing hard and they lose, I'm okay with it. These guys are making bonehead mistakes, and then the style of play that Tocchet has them playing is not exciting to watch on any level. So, all right, shots on net were 15-6 Vancouver in the first, 10-6 Seattle in the second, 10-8 for Vancouver in the third. They go 1-4 on this road trip. Final shots 31-24 Vancouver. Both teams go 0-2 on the power play. The hits 29-23 Vancouver. Lankinen saves 18 out of 23. Lankinen is a good goaltender, yes, but he is not the solution in terms of a starting goaltender. So when I hear, well, they could go with Lankinen and Shilovs next year, I think to myself, playoffs. Decord 28 saves on 31 shots, and I don't know that this is a playoff team. I like next year even. This team is completely broken. This is the worst that I've seen the Canucks play in this stretch in a while. It's like I'm looking back to 2021, after that run in 2020 where they got to the second round, and then 2021 arrived. They were in the Canadian division and just right off the cliff. Feels like that. All right. Let us go ahead and move along, and we'll talk about tomorrow's games. So Sunday, there's 6 games. It's hockey all day. I'm going to get creative, fitting videos in. Of course, there could be trades as well. It's not overly busy, but it's hockey all day. So 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. Toronto's in Pittsburgh. Toronto 37-20-2. They'll be looking to jump back past Florida. Pittsburgh 24, 29, and 9. And no matter how much ESPN wants them in the playoff hunt, they're not in the playoff hunt. I've watched I think they've had 3 games on ESPN this week, and every time it's, well, if they can win. No, it's done. The dream is over. 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific, Boston in Minnesota. So this is a doubleheader, meaning this will not start at that time. Boston 28, 25, and 8. They're trying to keep their playoff hopes alive. At least it was a regulation win for Columbus, so they're close to Detroit. Minnesota 34, 22, and 4, trying to keep their team together because they've lost enough, and there's always that chance that they get closer to that playoff line because Colorado could pass them. And then at 5 Eastern, 2 Pacific, we have Calgary in Carolina against the Canes. So Calgary, who have been struggling to find goals, they haven't scored in their last 2 games. And now they go to Carolina, and Carolina's going to be kind of ticked off after the game against Edmonton today. Calgary, 28, 23, and 8 on the season. Carolina, 34, 22, and 4. Same record as Minnesota. Similar recent track record as Minnesota. Carolina needs to get it together. Calgary, if they can win a game, they'll pass Vancouver. But it just feels like the Turtle Derby is returned to being the Turtle Derby. 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific start between St. Louis and Dallas. St. Louis might be the one that grabs that playoff spot. 29, 26, and 6. It is not going to be easy to win in Dallas. Dallas is very good at home. They're 35, 19, and 2. But that being said, are they unbeatable? No. No, I would not say that Dallas is unbeatable on any level. So could St. Louis, coming off this win, go into Dallas? And maybe. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific start between Nashville and the Rangers. The Rangers desperately need this one. Nashville's 21, 31, and 7 on the season. They're coming off of kind of an ugly game today against the Islanders. Whereas for the Rangers, they're 29, 26, and 4. And they have to win. They have to get on a bit of a run here. 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. So the games will be done early tomorrow. New Jersey's in Vegas, so they go from winning in Utah. Now they're going to go to Vegas. We'll see how that goes for them. New Jersey 33, 22, and 6 with the win tonight. Vegas 35, 18, and 6. The Oilers won tonight, so that puts a little bit more pressure on Vegas. We'll see how they come out. That, of course, being in Vegas means I favor Vegas in that game, but we'll see what happens. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about tonight's games, and let me know your picks for tomorrow as well. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe in the event you've not done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support. It's greatly appreciated. I will talk to you again soon.